Guess who's back? The Temple football team is back again, and this time they're heading down to South Florida for a battle with the Bulls.
And we've got one team that wants to go bowling and another that wants to be dancing by March. Plus,
I'm Matt Rainier, live here at Pearson and McGonigal Hall talking about volleyball and its international flavor. OwlSports Update is live and it starts right now.
Hello everyone and welcome back to TV Studio 3 for a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. I'm Lindsey Moppert, he's Luke Meli, and we've got a busy show today as we cover 7 Temple sports in just 28 minutes and 30 seconds.
yes, we count seconds here at OwlSports Update. Let's start with the guys wearing the pads, as the football team will be running with the Bulls this Saturday. But first, breaking news on AAC realignment. Within the last 2 hours, the AAC officially announced it's expanding. 6 new teams are joining the American, including University of Alabama Birmingham, Florida Atlantic, UNC Charlotte, North Texas, Rice, and the University of Texas at San Antonio. These 6 schools will join the 9 remaining AAC schools, which of course includes Temple. This move comes just weeks after it was announced that AAC would be losing Cincy, Houston, and UCF to the Big 12. For more on this move, always follow us on Twitter at OwlSportsUpdate.
Now for 2 teams that are already in conference. Temple will take on the USF Bulls at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida on Saturday night. The Owls are coming into the matchup with a conference record of 1-1 and USF with a conference record of 0-2. Both teams are desperate for a win, especially the Owls, who are looking to make a bowl game for the first time since 2019. As for facing the Bulls, the Owls are preparing for a desperate team and a quarterback that uses his arm as well as legs to pick up yards.
Even if they're not supposed to be a team that blitzes a lot, you never know what their game plan could be coming into a given week. This week they could come out and be like, you know what, we're going to blitz like crazy. So there's anything can happen on a game day. Got to make adjustments, but we just got to be ready for that.
That pocket now we all have to get to him, and he has some speed. So you have to just pay attention to what he has.
It has been a mixed bag for the Owls. Their 3 losses have all been blowouts, but the Owls do sit at 3-3, and a bowl game is a possibility. OwlSports Update's AJ Patel is over at the studio set to tell us a bit more about the team's changing expectations. Hey, AJ.
Thanks, Luke. Halfway through the season, the Owls' bowl chances are higher than the projections at the start of the season. Projected to finish in the bottom 2 in the conference, Temple is now 3 wins away from being bowl eligible. The team has 6 games left on its schedule. With Randall Jones cleared to play, the Owls have depth at the receiver position, a luxury the team did not have in its primetime matchup against Cincinnati. After this week, the team plays 4 teams at or below 500.
Now, AJ, looking at USF, they're a team with only 1 win this season. They're tied for last in the conference, and they're on a 3-game losing streak. Now, I know Temple has struggled on the road in the Rod Carey era, but how in the world are the Bulls favored to win this game? And do you think that's an accurate prediction?
I do not think this is accurate. Temple really surprised me in their upset win against Memphis. Since DeJuan Mathis has returned, the team has looked dynamic and productive on offense. The receiving core is really balanced, something that USF cannot say. But it's important to note that USF has had a tougher out-of-conference schedule, facing nationally ranked Florida and BYU. Combine that with the fact that Temple always comes out to a slow start, it will be a closer game than their 1-5 record reflects.
Now, AJ, you mentioned that Randall Jones is cleared to play, but now, as of just a few days ago, Amir Tyler is out due to an upper body injury. Now, what kind of impact do you think that his absence will have on the Owls' defensive side of the ball going into this weekend's matchup?
This is the biggest loss the Owls have faced all year on the defensive side of the ball. Tyler is not only the captain of the team, but he also leads the defense with 40 total tackles, 31 of those being unassisted. Being a graduate student, his veteran status is essential for a primarily young defense composed with a lot of freshmen.
Wonderful insight, AJ. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
As we race towards November, the basketball teams are just getting started. With less than a month before the men's team and its first game in early November, the Owls are picked to finish 8th in the 11-team AAC. But it's October, and every team has a right to be optimistic in October.
Now the guys been working really hard. I thought we had a good summer, and the goal for us was to just improve every day, just get a little bit better every day, and taking steps towards being a really good basketball team. And they've done that, and now it's go time for us, and we want to continue to try to improve each day. So we're competing, we're competitive at every position, and that's important.
There'll be a lot of excitement, a lot of versatility, much faster pace being played. Hope to pack out the Leah cores as much as we can, have everybody on campus come out to the games in the Philly area. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Now, looking at the AAC preseason coaches poll for both the men's and the women's basketball teams, it seems like there's plenty of potential for some major upsets. As I mentioned, the men will head into the season projected to finish 8th in the American, and Temple's predicted finish is the second lowest ever in the league's preseason poll. The Owls have never been picked to finish higher than 5th place since joining the American for the 2013-2014 campaign.
And the women enter the season slated to finish 5th in the American. The voters are staying consistent, appointing the Owls to the 5th spot for the second straight season. Last season, the Owls matched that prediction, winning 11 conference games, good for a 5th place finish.
Now it's time for everyone to get out their stopwatches. It's the Meli Moppert Minute.
Last time it was field hockey, now it's basketball. Lindsey and I will highlight which team excites us the most going into the season. And I'll start us off. Lindsey, I love potential, and that's exactly what this men's basketball team has this season. The growth of this team lies within their trio of young guards, Damian Dunn, Jeremiah Williams, and Caleb Battle. Battle excites me the most, as these guys all have a year under their belt. It's time to take that next step. Battle led the team in scoring a year ago, and he made the 3rd team All-AAC. Aaron McKee's in his 3rd year and has 4 returning starters, and he can run the system he wants with his recruits. There's plenty of reason to be excited about this squad.
Okay, here I go. I'm a little nervous that hopefully I won't get caught at the buzzer this time. If there was one good thing about COVID season last year, it was the women's team. And I actually got to go and watch one in-person game last year, and I have to say the 2021 Big 5 Rookie of the Year, Jaisha Clinton, was on fire. I mean, watching her on TV is one thing, but actually getting to watch her live was just unreal. And not to mention All-Star Mia Davis, who is an incredible player all around and has definitely been a mentor for the younger players on the team. I know, I'm ready for a season of W's for the women's team. Mia Davis has already cemented herself as one of the greatest Owls of all time, and she's still going. She was named the conference preseason player of the year for the 2nd consecutive season. Davis has been 1st team all-conference 3 years in a row and finds herself towards the top of many school records. She currently sits 1st in made free throws, 3rd in both rebounds and made field goals, and 4th in points in women's basketball history at Temple. And now that all eyes are turned on this season, Davis is expecting an even better outcome.
Last year was a COVID year, and we wound up ending up in a good spot, and we bring 9 to 10 new people in that has a lot of talents.
I think we're going to be extremely deep and fun to watch. I think the different styles that we're going to be able to play, definitely going to get out and run because we have those types of athletes. But on the defensive end, I think we're going to change how we play defensively as well, pick up a little bit more because we're so deep. So we want to be able to get that talent on the floor.
The women open on the 9th versus St. Francis, and now, of course, we're up against a break. But stick with us.
When we return, we'll explain how college athletes are using their name, image, or likeness for a little compensation.
And later, we're going to highlight 2 of the men's soccer team's most recent games on the road. One conference and one non-conference matchup, but unfortunately for the Owls, the same exact outcome.
Decades-long game of tug-of-war over the issue of paying student athletes. This controversy has favored the NCAA over the years. But this past summer, we saw the athletes pulling back on the rope, and now they have the opportunity of making money off their name. Some college athletes this year. In Pennsylvania, it came on June 25th.
I was so eager to get started.
That's the day PA became the 25th state to pass the name, image, and likeness law. That allowed college athletes to make money from their endorsements.
I started reaching out to anybody, everybody, either local, like global brands, all that.
Parks has already lost track of his deals. He says he signed somewhere between 5 and 15 in the first 3.5 months since the law was signed. Tilo Kunkel is teaching an NIL class in Temple's School of Sport, Tourism, and Hospitality Management. The new deals can offer skills that may be more valuable than money to the more than 98% of college athletes that do not go pro.
So it's about building that post-career network and that post-career brand as well. So gain a lot of other benefits from the educational side.
I'm major as advertiser. So I just want to get the experience simply because I'm going into that field, when I'm done with basketball.
Arashma is an example of an athlete that has taken advantage of the opportunities that the new rules allow for. But on the other hand, some companies have been kicking it up a notch when it comes to finding athletes to represent their brand. Heat Kick City is a Philadelphia-based sneaker company that has partnered with 9 Temple athletes in 3 different sports.
If I reach out to one athlete, they make their official announcement. Now more athletes will want to join, so now we can build a whole family.
And the process of signing these deals is made simple.
If somebody comes in contact with you offering you a deal, you have to present the contract to compliance and give them I think 7 days before you can agree to anything.
Then if I'll get an email where I sign off on it to say that this is the official agreement, so the athletes aren't taken advantage of,
These partnerships add off-the-court incentives for athletes, but it starts on the court.
Every award that they get a free shoe. So if you get Player of the Week, Honor Roll, you get 1 shoe instead of just the post on your school's Instagram.
Now, 19 states have still not signed NIL into law, meaning that Pennsylvania is getting a head start. This advantage could become more clear in the next few years when it comes to recruiting and showing potential recruits the type of money they can make while at Temple.
Heading over to the Temple Sports Complex, the field hockey team had a bit of a rough weekend. To start off, the Owls dropped its 3rd straight game with a 2-0 loss to the JMU Dukes on Sunday afternoon. In the first quarter, Temple was able to draw 3 penalty corners, but JMU answered back off a deflection and immediately grabbed the lead. Temple goalie Megan Ragusa recorded 3 saves on the day, but JMU midfielder Courtney Lynch scored the go-ahead goal late in the 3rd quarter to seal the 2-0 win for the Dukes. And right before that loss to JMU, the Owls faced the 9th-ranked Flames of Liberty University in a conference matchup on Friday night. Liberty got on the board quickly, but Temple's McKenna Burkhart found the equalizer less than a minute later. The Flames quickly scored a pair of goals in the 2nd quarter to hold the lead at the half, and the Cherry and White offense was unable to score in the 2nd half, giving Liberty more opportunity to put up 3 more goals to finish the final frame. In the end, the Owls fall to the nationally ranked Flames 6-1. Tailgaters are often known to hang outside the Link, Citizens Bank Park, and even the Wells Fargo Center prior to games. But when it comes to the Temple Field hockey team, the Owls have their very own set of fanatic fans. To give you some insight on these tailgates and relationships, OwlSports Update's Gil Rosen has the story.
Win, lose or draw, this crew has seen it all.
Have an opportunity to spend this moment watching your daughter play a game that they love. There's nothing better.
And that's what this crew of parents do just about every home game and for many away games too. On this Friday night, there wasn't a ton to cheer about in Temple's lopsided loss to Liberty. However, that didn't stop the pre-game festivities. Just last week, more than 100 Owls fans were in attendance when Temple played Lehigh. Pandemic, no pandemic, the fans find ways for safe celebrations. With their tent, pizza, food and drink is the pregame.
Last year we were lined up along the fence and we were still together, we were still tailgating. You could not bring us down. So now this year we're back on campus and we're having such a good time and face to face. So it didn't stop us. COVID didn't stop us.
I could see the joy in their face every time they come out of the locker room and they see us standing here. It gives them the confidence to go out there and play their best.
Football's not the only sport where fans coming together before the game to tailgate. Temple Field Hockey has the best fans with parents coming from all over to support their Owls.
The Field Hockey's next home game is against Old Dominion on Friday, and this group will be there 5 hours to the south. Reporting from the Temple Sports Complex, I'm Gil Rosen, OwlSports Update.
From one pitch to another, Temple Rugby is poaching castaways from one of Temple's most popular squads.
And although aggression and contact is key in both sports, these players are leaving their pads and helmets at home.
And I'm Matt Rainier, live here at Pearson McGonigal. Temple Volleyball likes to look far and wide for its top players, but I'll explain how far and how wide when we return.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. The Temple men's soccer team faced off against a city rival on Tuesday night. Temple sophomore Amir Cohen scored his first goal of the season to take an early lead against the Penn Quakers. Quickly after, Penn rifled off a shot and scored to tie it up. Temple's goalkeeper Goodwin Agbadem made several strong stops and was able to keep the score tied heading into halftime. Moving to the second half, it was a back-and-forth battle that resulted in another Quaker goal. Despite a late rally by the Owls, the game ended with a final score of 2-1 Penn.
Before that loss to Penn, the Owls went toe-to-toe with the 8th-ranked Tulsa Golden Hurricane. And after a scoreless first half, it's Alex Meinhardt breaking the tie on a penalty kick. But don't count the Owls out just yet. On the other end, it's Spencer Patton putting that one in the back of the net, breaking a 151-minute scoring drought for Temple. But 10 minutes later, it's Tulsa striking gold again. Till Zinhart with the flying header to put the Golden Hurricane ahead for good. Tulsa tops Temple 2-1.
The Owls are now 2-8-2 so far this season and have lost their first 6 conference games. This is the program's longest conference losing streak since joining the AAC. In fact, Temple has never lost a total of 7 conference games in one single season. With all of this in mind, the Owls still have 4 more conference games left in their schedule. 2 at home and 2 on the road, where Temple has struggled to bring a win back to Broad Street.
For most athletic programs, recruiting homegrown talent is an easy way to start building a team. But for one Temple squad, finding talent from unfamiliar territory makes them feel right at home. OwlSports Update's Matt Rainier is live at Pearson McGonigal Hall to tell us more. Hey, Matt.
Thanks, Luke. Student athletes come from all over, but it's not often for a Temple team to have 0 players on its roster from Pennsylvania. But that is exactly the case for the volleyball program that has gone on to acquire talent not just from the United States, but from all over the world as well.
Katarina Papaziou feels at home on the court at Pearson McGonigal, even though her real home is almost 5,000 miles away. As Katarina is one of 5 international players on the volleyball team.
It's a very friendly environment, and actually Philadelphia reminds me of my city in Greece.
With about 1/3 of the roster including international players, the recruitment process is often challenging, and the volleyball is a perfect example of this. 16 players on the roster, and not one is from Pennsylvania.
Actually, I was in the national team, Greek national team, so when we travel, a lot of recruiters from different countries, they come to our games.
And that is how it starts. But flying overseas can be a challenging adjustment for 18-year-old student athletes, and these players are no exception.
Philadelphia is a big city. At the beginning it was really hard. I was really homesick. I was crying every day.
The difficulty of the recruitment process can make it challenging for a player to want to join a team, but the volleyball team has used both the quality of its program as well as both the atmosphere of Temple's campus and its city location in order to appeal to students that are looking to further both their athletic as well as their academic careers.
I think appealing is that the city of Philadelphia is a large city. It's very diverse, very international.
The distinctive environment of Temple University has given the volleyball program a roadmap in the recruitment process. It allows them to appeal to potential recruits by offering them a diverse and welcoming environment for them to carry out their academic and their athletic pursuits.
The volleyball program is one of 3 teams at Temple that has 0 players from Pennsylvania. The program has players from European countries such as Poland, Greece, and Germany, while also having 4 players from Hawaii, as well as players from southern states such as Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia. Though the team has struggled this season with a 5-14 record, there are still 12 matches left that will take the Owls into Thanksgiving. Reporting live from Pearson McGonigal Hall, I'm Matt Rainier. Lindsey and Luke, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Matt. That same volleyball team had quite a busy weekend hosting some visitors from Southern and Central Florida at McGonigal Hall. To start us off, Temple took on the USF Bulls and won its first conference game of the season, this one in the White Tops. The Bulls got off to a hot start, but Temple quickly answered back, making it a back-and-forth battle. Despite the Owls' effort, USF closed out the opening set 25-21. After an early run for the Bulls in the second set, USF was able to hold on to their lead once again, winning the round 25-22. The Owls came in hot for the third set, leading midway and held it until the end for a Temple win 25-22. After falling behind by 2 sets, the Owls rallied back and won the final 3 sets to seal the 3-2 win.
Now the Owls followed up the win against the Bulls with a Sunday matinee against the UCF Knights. Temple donned the cherry tops in this one. It was a matchup of 2 teams heading opposite directions, with the Knights having only 1 loss in conference this season and the Cherry and White having only 1 conference win. Mirai Bullock-Bossi led the way for the Owls with 10 kills, but this one was all UCF. The Knights put together a 16-2 run to win the first set in dominating fashion. After dropping the second set, Temple made it close in the third, but ultimately fell by 2 points. The Knights win it in straight sets, 3-0. Now we've reached our final break, but don't go anywhere. We are finally ready to tackle some rugby.
Find out more when OwlSports Update continues in 90 seconds.
We apologize, but we do not have enough time to get to the rugby package today, but go check it out on Twitter or Instagram at OwlSports Update. Now it's a jam-packed weekend, starting with the return of Owls football on Saturday, along with women's lacrosse heading to Lehigh for an exhibition. Things start to ramp up on Sunday, starting with women's lacrosse in the morning, then some field hockey in the afternoon. Sunday will also feature women's volleyball at home, taking on Wichita State, and women's soccer caps it off the weekend in the Sunshine State, taking on UCF at 1.
That's going to be a wrap for this edition of OwlSports Update. Thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to follow us on social media.
For Lindsey Moppert, I'm Luke Meli. Have a great day, everyone.